This week we are back at Devil's Fork State Park. This is one of our favorite parks. We've already been here once this summer and spot number T13. And so this is spot T12. So in this video I'm going to talk about what I like about this spot, what I like about this park, some of the things we've learned that we've been here, and now that we're here on July 4th, the water's warmer. So we'll show how easy it is to swim from this spot. So let's take a quick tour of T12 and then we'll come back and talk about what we like about this spot. All right, here's campsite T12, and as you can see, it's down at the bottom of the walk-in campground. It has no power, has no water, but is right by the lake, so there is water for swimming. So let's look at the campsite real quick. So you come over here, you have this nice, really big pad. There's a fire pit right here in the corner. It is concreted into the ground, so it does not move. There's a spot right over there with another campsite, and then an empty spot in the middle, which I think at one time was an empty or another campsite. And then in the middle, we have the bear boxes that have been added. And as you can see, they are very big. They are very useful. So all of our stuff is inside to protect from the bears, but also to protect from the squirrels, which is there's a squirrel right there. So they're always looking for something. And then we are camping with friends on that side. So we've kind of turned this middle area into a communal area. And there's our camp stove and all of the stuff with the view of the lake right there. And as you can see, there's some trees right here. So we like this spot a lot because if you're just up here hanging out, the trees will give you some privacy from all the people in the lake. And so that's very nice. But let's come check out the lake. We do get a lot of sun right here, so we have a Tentsile shade up right now, which this thing is really cool. See, it goes all the way up there. But down here is the access to the lake, and it has rocks, which can make it a little tough to climb down into the water. And the water will go up and down throughout the day or throughout the weekend. And there's the lake. We'll see if we can get a view of the mountains. Right here, you can swim. The water is up right now to about here. And then here's the hill that you do have to climb a little bit to get up to the campsite up top. So we'll walk back up, take a view of the whole thing. We've got the tent. It's very flat and very big. And so there is a quick little tour of campsite T12, which I think is our favorite of all of the campsites down here. T13 over there is nice, but there's less privacy. But 12 has an awesome amount of privacy and just an easy walk to the top and to the bottom. All right, so one of the things I really like about this spot is I think it's more private than the other spot. T13 obviously is probably the most popular spot. It's a hard spot to get. All of these are hard spots to get. I booked these 13 months ago. So to get spots along the water at this park, it takes some planning. One thing I've learned is that if you look at the state park, people are canceling all the time because they have to book so far in advance like we did, which I know is annoying for some, but people cancel spots. And so there's spots that open up, but you won't be able to pick and choose as much as you want, but that's how you can get a spot if you aren't willing or able to book a spot so far in advance. So one thing we like about this spot is it's right next to the water, and all you gotta do is just walk down here to go swimming. So one thing about Devil's Fork State Park is it will storm. I think it has stormed every time that we have camped out here. The mornings are usually nice. You have really good weather in the day, but you have to keep an eye out about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yesterday, it was perfect weather out, no issues. And then about 4:30, the storm just rolled across the lake and it came fast. And there was lightning and thunder and rain and everything. And it floods the campsite, it gets everything wet. And so that's just one thing you always have to prepare for out here is it will storm. So if you look at all the campsites around here, they have tarps on their campsites. They have all their rain gear up. And some of the biggest storms I've ever experienced have been here on Lake Jocassee. And we've been through a lot of storms at a lot of campgrounds, but the most memorable have all been at this campground. But one thing that they've added is bear boxes, which is really handy. We haven't seen any bears yet out here this summer. I know they're out here, but having the bear boxes is awesome. But one of the benefits of the bear box is it gives you a place to put all of your stuff if it does rain. It just keeps all of your food dry and keeps it safe from the animals. And so the bear boxes that were added this year in the summer of 2024 have been absolutely amazing. So the price to stay out here is not cheap, but they do seem to be making changes. But the bear boxes were an investment, I'm sure, but they have been 100% useful. And also there's lots of squirrels that get into all of your food. And so the bear boxes aren't necessarily protected from the bear all the time, but from the food. And they have locks. So if you do go kayaking during the day, you can leave your stuff in there and bring a lock and it'll lock it up. The office over there has mostly drinks and ice cream, and then a lot of almost touristy things like clothes and cups, but then a few little basic things. I didn't see any meats or anything like that. So it wasn't too, stocked with grocery items. I know one time we went to get propane and they did not have any propane, but there's a little store and there's a gas station that's not too far away. And the gas station has propane and everything that we've ever needed if we needed to go there. The view from the window over Lake Jocassee is awesome. So as you can see, you can just watch the lake. I'm sure you could watch the storms roll across the lake. There's times where you can't even see those mountains in the background. The storms will completely cover all those mountains and you can't see very far at all. The office, I think, closes kind of early, but I get it. People, want to go home. So the office closed at 5, and this is the 4th of July weekend, but they have an ice machine now that's outdoors and you can pay with cash, credit card, and so having access to ice at any time is awesome. Even though we're a little bit closer to the mountains, it was still 95 degrees this weekend, and there can be heat issues with people, so you need to be safe. So even with the lake and the heat and the sun, it is important to stay cool up here, even though you think you might be a little bit cooler because you're away from the mountains, but it's still extremely hot up here. We made it to the lake. So one of the best parts about this spot is that you can swim right from your camp spot. And as you can see, the mountains and the view are absolutely amazing. And at night, this is really calm. There's not a lot of people out here. And this was ranked in 2024, just this year, USA Today's best swimming lake in the United States. So that is really cool. So I'm floating right now. What I like to do is just come out with my life jacket and float. Being July, the water is still a little bit chilly, but it's definitely swimmable. I usually wait till middle of June before I think it's really comfortable. But it's always cool enough to give you a break from the summer heat. So to get down to spot T12, it's about a 3 or 4 minute walk down the hill. At the top, there's a parking lot. There's 1 car per each campsite. So then there's overflow parking. Sometimes the rangers, especially during the week when there's less people here, we've parked 2 cars there, but we usually just bring 1 car because we know there's less parking at this park. However, like I said, when it's not busy, you don't have to take your car all the way over to the other parking lot in our experience. And so the rangers have been really helpful with that. But when it gets full, you need to move your cars so that everybody has room to park. And then the bathroom is right next to the parking lot at the top of the hill. And they've renovated it a little bit, so they've cleaned it up a little bit. It's always pretty nice, typical state park bathroom. You won't win any awards, I guess, but it's usually pretty clean. A benefit of T12 is that it's not as close to the day use area. And so I like the campground that is a little bit further from the day use area because a lot of the state park is crammed into one area. So there's the day use area and then a little bit of forest and then the campground. So the further away you can get from the day use area just gives you a little bit less issues of people wandering and coming through your campsite. Hasn't been too big of a deal because we're far enough away from the day use area. And we really like the day use area. There's a place where you can rent, and they have a little store there, drinks, sodas, candy, that kind of stuff. And then they have the Electric Sun, which rents boats. We have not rented for them because we have our own boats. We have done waterfall tours, the Jocassee Lake tours, and they're awesome. So if you need someone to go tour the lake, use them because they are free plug of just a lot of fun. They take us out there, take us to the waterfalls. We like to do the little private tours where they just supply the driver and they know where to go. And then we just go out there and we go swimming. We find a spot and hang out for the day and go swimming. And it's cheaper than owning a boat. So that's a plus. So we do have cell phone service out here. Some days I have 3 or 4 bars. I used to not have any service out here. So it keeps improving, it seems like every time we come out, or at least every year that we come out. And so that is, important, especially on the lake. There's been some issues. Kayaks get collapsed or something and they need to call in help. So there's been a little bit more service out here over the last few years, which just makes it safer for everybody involved. And this weekend we're here a little bit longer than normal because of the 4th of July. So we've been eating a lot of different things. For breakfast, we have had bagels and bacon. For lunches, we've had ribs. We've had nachos that we made into cast iron for the first time. That worked really well. And the camp oven, which we've been starting to bring and trying new things. We had brownies We made some Sister Schubert's cinnamon rolls, and that was awesome. They turned out really, really well. We also attempted to make blueberry muffins. A second attempt worked better than the first attempt. And for supper, we've had corn, mashed potatoes, cherry cobbler, and steak, and we also had a pork loin. So we've had a lot of different things to eat this week. You know, or sometimes on these longer trips, we're trying new things. And because of the Baird canisters, you don't have to drag everything up and down anymore. So it's a lot easier to cook down here than it used to be.
My favorite part about this campsite is there's an easy way to get down to the lake, and while you're going down, you can also find like a little beach if the water's not that high. About this campground, I also like that this campground is pretty close to Jumping Rock. If the water is high enough, then you can jump off the Jumping Rock. So yeah, those are my favorite parts about this campground, and see you next time.